Hello. So there was some technical fault happened all of a sudden. So we'll start meeting again and we'll start with the session. So dear friends, we are discussing regarding the author's preface, and this author's preface explains that what was the position of the medical field during Hahnemannian time. It was very worst because there were different thoughts, and with different thoughts everyone was coming out with different ways to find it out the solution. That was the problem during that time. And big thought which was there in people's mind was the disease is caused because something enters inside the body, and because of which all the diseases develops. This was the thought, and everyone was trying to remove that thought, that so-called material, by any means, either producing vomiting, diarrhea, or producing sweating, producing more salivation, all those methods. And that was very much rampant during that time. Hahnemann said it doesn't have meaning because when you do all those things, you remove the vital juices from the body and process more damage to the human health. Another thought which was very, very strong in people's mind, basically the Brasu who has imposed that thought, that disease is developed because all of a sudden there is increase of blood volume inside the body and causing the disease. So remove the blood by any means. That was another thought which was there. And they tries to remove that blood by any means, applying the leeches, taking the cuts on the bodies. Then the cupping method was there. All those methods were there. Then there was a method of using the cetons, the issues, etc., where all those methods were very much prevalent during that time. And all those methods were of not at all useful, but they are more damaging the human health. And that's why he explains about this. This was the condition. That's why he wants to leave the allopathic treatment. So he left that. There were few more methods were there. You are using the medicines which were in a very large doses, and when they used to use that in large doses, it used to create more problems. The larger problems, larger doses causes big problems, damages the human health, and producing more and more pathologies. The curable disease was becoming more incurable because of that method. And that's what we were discussing in the last lecture. So we have finished up to it. Considers affections of the exterior of the body as purely local and existing there independently, and vainly supposes that it has cured them when it has driven them away by means of external remedies, so that internal affection is thereby compelled to break out on a nobler and more important point. So this was the problem at that time. Every local element, every external element used to be considered as a local measure. By local treatment, it used to suppress, and it changes its position, and it used to enter inside the body. Today, this method is more strongly utilized. Specifically, while doing the skin practice, they used to use more and more strong steroids ointments, and those strong steroids changes the axis of the disease from the less important organ like skin, and it enters inside the human body. Today we have pathologies to treat. There are many pathologies which are there. Today we have to deal with the autoimmune disorders more commonly. Today we have to remove we have to deal with the cancers, we have to deal with the cirrhosis, we have to deal with degenerations, we have to deal with the necrosis. All those pathologies are increased, and those pathologies are increased only because of the suppression of the external manifestations with local treatment. And this was present during Hahnemannian time also. When it knows not what else to do for the disease which will not yield or which grows worse, the old school of medicine undertakes to change it into something else. It knows not what, by means of an alternative, for example, by life undermining calomel, corrosive sublimate, and other mercurial preparations in large doses. This was another thing that they used to use if they don't know any weapon to fight against that. Either they used to go for cauterizing, either they used to go for the surgical removal, either they used to use very violent heroic medicines like mercury for the syphilis. You get in your materia medica again and again the bad effects of mercury, and that mercury treatment was for the syphilis. So syphilitic eruptions used to get suppressed because of local application of mercury. So such types of measures were very prominently utilized during Hahnemannian time, and those used to produce more damage to the human health. It seems that the unhallowed principal business of the old school of medicine, allopathy, is to render incurable, if not fatal, the majority of diseases, those made chronic through ignorance, by continually weakening and tormenting the already debilitated person by further addition of new destructive drug diseases. When this pernicious practice has been a habit and one is rendered insensible to the admonitions of conscience, this becomes a very easy business indeed. So what he says over there, that they used to treat all those chronic diseases by such methods which used to weaken more and more already tormented patient. They used to remove the blood, they used to take the, they used to produce the diarrhea, they used to produce the vomiting, and already debilitated patient becomes more and more diseased. They used to use very strong doses of medicines, and that also caused more and more destruction to the human health. And this method of using the allopathy in such types of patient was the pernicious practice. It becomes the habit of the people at that time. Hahnemann criticized all those things. Being a practitioner of the allopathy, he criticized homeopathy because these all those methods were illogical. There is a footnote in this paragraph, footnote number 1. For the same object, the experienced allopath delights to invent a fixed name by preference, a Greek one, for the malady in order to make the patient believe that he has long known this disease as an old acquaintance, and hence it is the fittest person to cure it. This is again one more thing they used to do. Today also this method is used. If you would have seen the Anand movie, have you seen the Anand movie? When Rajesh Khanna asked Amitabh, what is the name of my disease? Which is the disease because of which I am suffering from? Tell me. And he tells, you have a lymphosarcoma of the intestine. Very big name. And second sentence is that, do you know what it is? He says that, I'm sorry to say, but there is no treatment available for you. And this is the condition of the modern science. They give big names to the diseases, but they don't have a weapon to fight against it. Because of giving a name to the Greek names, Latin names to the diseases, it feels like that they are very much known about the diseases. But they only know this much. They don't know how to treat them. This problem lies with them. I will share my example. When I was learning, basically when I was in fact, I was an intern at that time. My father used to get very severe cramps in lower extremity. It has started, and he used to cry during sleep because he got that cramp in calf muscle, and it was so severe that it used to bring the tears in his eyes. So he was shown to many doctors, physicians who were his friend, and everyone asked him to take the calcium, the potassium. They have done the serum calcium, serum potassium, everything found to be normal, and still he was having the same problem. So the physician over here, who was his friend, he asked better to take a neuro opinion. So you go to the Pune. And we went, he came to Pune, I was there in Pune, and then we met one of the leading neurophysician in Ruby Hospital. So he has seen the reports were normal. So he asked better to go for EMG nerve conduction study. EMG nerve conduction study was done, and it was found to be again a normal. So my father asked him curiously, so sir, what do you feel? What is my problem? And he said, this is called as nocturnal cramps. This is the joke. He was getting the cramps at night. He has given the name nocturnal cramps. Then he asked what to do now. Then he said, what can we do? Already you are taking the calcium. Already you are taking the potassium. Everything you are consuming. This is what we can do. Even you are taking the B1, B6, B12 vitamin also. So I cannot do anything. So ultimately, when we returned home, I asked him, I will give you medicine, and I have given him cuprum metallicum. And the day I had given him cuprum metallicum, it was in 1990, I think so. From 1990 till today, 2022, he had never had cramps in lower extremity. This is the difference between the two pathies. One pathy deals with what is the patient's problem and asks without giving name, find it out the simillimum and gives the remedy. Another pathy starts finding it out, the cause which they don't know and which they cannot catch, labels it by certain names, big names, and tries to give symptomatic treatment without any result. And this was the problem. This is what Hahnemann stated, that why to give the name. Instead of that, find it out what exactly. Yes, cuprum metallicum 200C was given 3 doses and it worked beautifully for him. So this was the position of allopathy at that time, and today also a lot of things are still persist. In next paragraph, what he says, and yet for all these mischievous operations, the ordinary physician of the old school can assign his reasons, which, however, rest only on foregone conclusions of his books and teachers, and on the authority of this and that, or that distinguished physician of the old school. So if you, today also, what is the condition of the people? Today also, the condition is same. If you go to any physician for any problem, they first tries to prescribe for you, they give their opinion. If you never get satisfied, then you ask what is my problem, then he says, then he tells what we will do. We'll take his opinion. You go to such and such place and we'll take an opinion. Hahnemann says, why it is needed to take an opinion? Why don't you have any principle to treat? There is no law, there is no fixed principle with which you can approach, and that's why you depend upon opinions. When you deal with the same patients with homeopathy, there is no need to take opinion, but there is a need to apply the law of simple. You have to apply the cardinal principles and treat that patient. There is no need to take an opinion. There is no need to speculate on the things. And this is the big difference between two pathies. Even the most opposite and most senseless modes of treatment find their defense, their authority. Let their disastrous effects speak ever loudly against them. It is only under the old physician who has been at last gradually convinced, after many years of misdeeds, of the mischievous nature of his so-called art, and who no longer treats even the severest diseases with anything stronger than the plantain water mixed with strawberry syrup, that is with nothing, that the smallest number are injured and die. What he is saying, there were few physicians who were having the conscience mind. They understood that whatever they are giving the medicines, it used to create a problem for patients. It is causing more damage to the health of the patient. So ultimately, they came to the conclusion that instead of giving the medicine, they used to give the strawberry syrup, and which is nothing but the tonic, nothing more than that. And they knows the reality that they will produce less harm by giving the strawberry syrup. So this is the criticism done by Hahnemann against his own pathy, and even he explains the reality boldly. He writes it boldly because he knows that it was the reality. This non-healing art, which for many centuries has, what is the word which he has used? Non-healing art. This non-healing art, which for many centuries has been firmly established in full possession of the power to dispose of the life and death of the patients according to its own goodwill and pleasure, and in that period has shortened the lives of 10 times as many human beings as the most destructive wars, and rendered many millions of patients more diseased and rich than they were originally. This allopathy. See what words he uses for them. He says that this is non-healing art, to which he labeled by name of allopathy, and what he says over there, many centuries this is working and creating problem for the human health. The life of the patient, life of the people is becoming very less and less. If you find it out, the history of human life, the general human life was considered to be 125 years. And now, how much is the general life of the human being? It has reduced to 60, 70. Very occasionally, you see people with more than 75. Very, very rarely you can see a person reaches 90 or 100. Why this has happened? And he explains, he blames that these medicines and all those methods made the life of the people very much reduced, nearly about 10 times. I have, in the introduction to the former editions of this book, considered more in detail. Now I shall consider only its exact opposite, the true healing art, discovered by me and now somewhat more perfected. Examples are given to prove that striking cures performed in former times were always due to the remedies basically homeopathic and found by the physician accidentally and contrary to the then prevailing methods of therapy. What he says over there? He says over there that I have talked a lot about all those pathy. I have given everything detail. If you read this introduction written by Hahnemann in this sixth edition, which was added from fifth edition, you'll find it out. He has taken detailed review about all those systems. He says that it is enough to talk about this. But now I want to tell you the system which I have developed after lot of scientific experimentation, which not only cures the patient, brings back his health again. And this is absolutely a different and more thorough treatment for the patients. One more thing he explains, it was practiced previously also without knowing how it used to work. But accidentally, few people who used to get cured, they were getting cured only because the medicine which was used found it to be worked on law of similars. As regards the latter, that is homeopathy, it is quite otherwise. It can easily convince every reflecting person that the diseases of man are not caused by any substance, any acridity, that is to say, any disease matter, but that they are solely spirit-like dynamic derangements of the spirit-like power, the vital principle that animates the human body. And he here defines very clearly that disease is not caused because of anything material which enters inside body, but it used to produce disease only and only because of dynamic spiritual conceptual agency, which is inimical to your life. This word comes again and again, and many people never understand what is dynamic, noxious, inimical conceptual agency. What is inimical? The word, if you understand inimical, then you will understand very easily what exactly it is. Inimical means against your will. Whenever anything happens against your will, it disturbs you. It disturbs your vitality. So if you are very enthusiastic, wants to do something, and you are really worked for it, and someone says, don't do that, what happens? Your vitality gets disturbed. You get so disturbed that you become absolutely depressed, nervous, and then whole day or two you are in sad mood. What has happened? It has happened only like that, that your vitality is gets disturbed because of some dynamic thing. Nothing entered in your body, but it disturbs you. That is a conceptual inimical thing which affects your vital force, and it gets affected day and night. But the function of vital force is to preserve the health. That's why it never immediately produces disease, as much as it starts to find it out the solution for it, and it comes out of that disease. But once it gets completely diseased, where there is no chance to regain the health, at that time the disease develops. At that time, it reflects the disease. And this is what he wants to explain over there. The disease is not caused because of something material enters inside the body, but it is because of something spirit-like which enters inside the body. The homeopathy knows that a cure can only take place by reaction of the vital force against the rightly chosen remedy that has been ingested, and that the cure will be certain and rapid in proportion to the strength with which the vital force still prevails in the patient. So if the disease is because of the spiritual disturbance of the vital force, because of spirit-like inimical conceptual agency, so it happens at dynamic plane, the treatment should be dynamic. So you have to find it out the right remedy. That remedy should be given in dynamic doses, and that definitely works at the same plane, because both the natural disease and the medicinal disease has the similar types of manifestation. The cure then develops, works on the basis of nature's law of cure. A weaker dynamic affection is permanently extinguished in the living organism by a stronger one, whilst differing in kind, if latter is very similar to former in its manifestation. So this works. This law works because it is a fixed law. It is called as therapeutic law. It is called as nature's law, and it used to work over there. Hence, homeopathy avoids everything in the slightest degree. Just a minute. Homeopathy knows that a cure can only take place by reaction of the vital force against the rightly chosen remedy that has been ingested, and that the cure will be certain and rapid in proportion to the strength with which the vital force still prevails in the patient. Hence, homeopathy avoids everything in the slightest degree, enfeebling, and as much as possible, every excitation of pain, for pain also diminishes the strength, and hence it implies for the cure only those medicines whose power for altering and deranging dynamically the health it knows accurately, and from these it selects one whose pathogenetic power, its medicinal disease, is capable of removing the natural disease in question by similarity, that is similia similibus, and that this it administers to the patient in simple form, but in rare and minute doses, so small that without occasioning pain and or weakening, they just suffice to remove the natural malady. Whence this result, that without weakening, injuring, torturing him, in the very least, the natural disease is extinguished, and the patient, even whilst he is getting better, gains his strength and thus is cured, is apparently easy but actually troublesome and difficult business, and one requiring much thought, but which restores the patient without suffering in a short time to perfect health, and thus it is a salutary and blessed business. So what he says? He says over there that this is the only method which works so gently, without causing any damage, without causing any problem, without causing any disturbance, without causing any harm to the patient. It is only on the basis of law of similars it works. And the weaker natural disease gets completely removed after small doses of such a similar medicine. And this is what the homeopathy is. This is the blessing. If you get the right remedy to the patient, depending on the totality of the symptoms, you can achieve that cure. And patient also doesn't understand how the disease is getting cured. He's so happy after that. That guides you. Yes, this is what is homeopathic cure, without causing any damage. And that's why in the second aphorism, he says that the how should be ideal cure, highest ideal of cure. And if it many a times, if you get a right remedy, you can get such types of results over there. There is one footnote to this paragraph. That footnote will read, footnote number 2. Homeopathy sheds not a drop of blood, administers no emetics, purgatives, laxatives, or diapuretics, drives off no external affections by external means, prescribes no hot or unknown mineral baths or medicated clysters, applies no Spanish flies or mustard plasters, no satans, no issues, excites no tiresm, burns not with moxa or red hot iron to the very bone, and so forth, but gives with its own hand its own preparations of simple uncompounded medicine, which it is accurately acquainted with, never subdues pain by opium. So here he explains that how homeopathy is used or how homeopathy works. There is no laxative, there is no purgative, there is no seton, there is no issues, there is no plaster, there is no mineral bath, nothing like that. No strong medicine. Whatever is there, just simple single medicine and given it in a simpler manner, oral route. The small globules which are so tasty, so sweet that even anyone can palate, anyone can chew, and everyone can like. And this is the simplest way. There is no need to take the blood out. There is no need to take the when do the venesections. But with such a gentle way, this homeopathic remedy, a right remedy in a right potency, works for that patient and bring that patient again into the state of health. And this is the difference between the two different pathies. One where all those methods are used, and another where the thing like that is done, but only one thing, the medicine is applied on the law of similars. And now he explains to conclude that paragraph, conclude his introduction, preface, what he says. Thus, homeopathy is preferably simple system of medicine, remaining always fixed in its principles, as in its practice, which, like the doctrine whereon it is based, if rightly apprehended, will be found to be complete and therefore serviceable. That is clearly pure in doctrine, and practice should be self-evident, and all backward sliding to the pernicious routinism of the old school that is as much its antithesis as night is today, should cease to haunt itself with the honorable name of homeopathy. Samuel Hahnemann, Cothen, 28 March 1833, confirmed in Paris 1842. So this he concludes that by saying that it is the only pathy which will guide to the suffering mankind without causing any trouble, without causing any harm, without causing any problem, but with a gentle way, bring back him again into the state of health, and that is what is called as a homeopathy. So in the sixth edition of Organon of Medicine, for the sixth edition of Organon of Medicine, he writes this preface with a confidence and tell everyone that it is the only pathy which can guide the suffering humanity in a proper way. And this he has written it in 1842, which was confirmed in Paris, and this was ready for publication at that time. Unfortunately, was not published at that time, but published in 1921. Hahnemann, there was footnote number 3. Hahnemann did not put in his manuscript the exact date, leaving this probably until the book would go to the printer. But Dr. Hale suggests February 1842 as the date according to the manuscript copy made by Madame Hahnemann. So it was ready for publication in February 1842. Just before 1 year before his death, it was ready for publication, but unfortunately never got a publisher at that time. And it remained as it is for nearly about 60, say 80 years. And in 1921, it was published by Madame Hahnemann. But we are lucky enough that we got this manuscript, because of which we have understood many things what Hahnemann have done in last 10 years of his life. And it was a big study which he has done in his last 10 years of his life. He has understood the dynamics of the human being in a very perfect manner in last 10 years of his life. And those dynamics which he tried to explain, which he tried to understand in a proper manner. So this is what the preface is there, and what we have learned about the sixth edition. It was just a introduction, very simple introduction. The translator's preface first we have learned. Thereafter, we have learned the James Cross introduction to the sixth edition of Organon of Medicine, and thereafter, too, we have finished the author's preface to the sixth edition of Organon of Medicine. Now we have to turn toward the actual text of Organon. I will not go into the fifth edition's introduction in this book, because that is part and parcel of just a review taken about all the systems prevalent during Hahnemannian time. My suggestion is that you go through that, read that, and see what was going on and what is still going on. Compare that with the modern age and find it out what is the condition of the allopathy at present. But my suggestion is that from tomorrow onwards, we'll start with the actual text of Organon, right from the aphorism number 1. If we have to understand the aphorisms, we have to understand every sentence, every word from the aphorism, along with the footnotes. So we have to understand, if it looks very simple that first aphorism is just the physician's mission, and the physician's high and only mission is to restore the sick to health as it, to cure as it is termed. This is the first aphorism. It looks very simple. Generally, I take nearly about 15 days to 1 month period to teach first aphorism, because it has a big meaning. We revolve around the whole homeopathy when we learn only the first aphorism. And this is what I want to teach you. This is what I want to share with you. It is a wrong word that to teach you, because I'm not teacher, but I want to share whatever I understood. And I like that first aphorism, because when you learned it first aphorism by heart, then you understood whole homeopathy. You can revolve around whole homeopathy through this first aphorism. So from tomorrow onwards, we'll go with the first aphorism. Until that period, the 6 minutes are there with us. If you have any questions, we can discuss those questions. And also, again, my request to all of you, to the new practitioners, to the students, do join with our Divine School of Homeopathy, because where you will get many things which are very basics. Basics are needed to learn. What I used to teach over here in my clinic is the basics. I don't want to teach like something like the top of the things. I want to teach the basics. If your basics are clear, then you will definitely understand everything in a clear manner. And for that purpose, my request to all the peoples are there, do get joined with our Divine School of Homeopathy. You will definitely get satisfied. For first few lectures, you might get the practitioners who are there with me here. They are newcomers in the field of talking in the whole as a speaker. Sometimes you might feel that it is language, you might sometimes feel hard, but it is just a matter of 4 or 5 days, and then you will get acquainted with them, and then you will learn what is happening in my clinic, what I used to teach, what the way with which we approach, what is the importance of clinical examination. All those things will be there, which will be shared with all of you. So yesterday also I told that they will be the connecting link between myself and you, and that will be better for everyone. You can get at your native place all those things which are essential in the practice. So thank you for all of you. Many of you have already joined the sessions. My suggestion today, Dr. Bhagyeshri Patsarne, she will going to discuss few cases with you, and those cases where you can find it out the different ways of looking towards the cases, and what they used to see in OPD, that they will going to share. So you learn a lot, and you learn different aspects how to enter into the case through them. So again, a request to join our Divine School of Homeopathy. And second important thing, if you have any query, just uh, tell me or share any query so that we can have a chat. 4 minutes are there. Is there any query, any question? Imam, how are you?
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Thank you.
What is the position of homeopathy in Pakistan?
Sir, very bad, unfortunately.
Why?
Sir, basically, people are doing business. They make it like an industry. Uh, there are no teachers available. I did 4 years course of DHMS. Even BHMS is not available over here. Uh, uh, Only in one university in Lahore. We have no place in Karachi if we want to do BHMS. And my basics and my understandings is better because of you people. I connected in 2017 with some teachers in India, and then Dr. Gatewad, and then you. So I learned a lot from you people, and that's why people, when I told them about homeopathy over here in Pakistan, they said it's worked like this. We didn't hear about like this. We think that it's a 4 combinations and syrups and all that.
Hmm.
So I have alhamdulillah patients from UK, US, and even the literate and educated peoples now come to me, and that's all because of you people. I connected to you fortunately, and otherwise over here it's very bad situation, sir. Unfortunately.
Okay. Ask your friends to join our this way
Sure, sir.
so that they can learn a lot, and there are no fees for this session. Basically, if you learn organon by heart, it will be very useful. There was one question: can we frequently repeat the nosode? No, not at all. Don't repeat nosode frequently. They are the strong energies, and that's where repetition is not needed. And Amit, he has asked that, sir, what about LM potency introduction in 6th edition? How much it is perfect method? LM potency is very, very, very useful. I'm trying and I'm using it day and every day. I used to use the LM. That there is one session already on potency dilemma. Go through that again, and during these sessions we'll going to learn about the alien potency, so that question will be solved or in those next future sessions. But till that period, if you want to learn more, you go with the potency dilemma lecture from the YouTube, and you can learn a lot. So thank you being there, all of you, and many, many people who have joined over there. Anu was there, then Karuna was there. Yes, I'm very happy. Naneshwar is there. Dr. Madhushi is there. Dr. Anita is there. Thank you, Anita, being there. Dr. Prasanna, then Ujwala, Manisha, Payal, everyone. Rutuja Muse, I'm happy to see you over here again. So lot of students are there who have joined from different areas. Thank you once again, and we'll meet again tomorrow at the same time with another next many futures about it. And do join our divine school, and let us have a session with them at 9 o'clock. Thank you very much. We'll meet again tomorrow.